"I'm afraid I've got some bad news, John," said the doctor with a heavy sigh. "It seems your ears are not responding to the treatment, and unfortunately there's not much we can do. Until what, doctor? Until what? Just say it straight, I can take it," I said to him. But I couldn't take it. The news that I would soon be losing my hearing hit me like a ton of bricks. As I stood there staring at my test results, tears began seeping down my face. My life, my very own life, would never be the same. "Please, is there anything else we can do?" I begged Dr. Connor. "I'm sorry, we did everything we could. You could try surgery. But at this point, I honestly don't think it will work," he said, looking at me with sorrow. It felt like the entire world was crumbling around me. My hearing would be gone at only 46, and there was nothing any of the doctors I went to could do to help me. I was devastated and angry at God for letting this happen to me. Frightened that all the things I loved would soon vanish from my life, one after another. Ashamed of what my family would say when they found out, and heartbroken by the thought of having to give up on everything that made my life normal. My dignity, my hobbies, my favorite songs, my wife's beautiful voice will all become a distant memory. I prayed to God to end this nightmare and wake me up. But it was real. It was happening. As I sat there on the hospital steps crying like a child, the realization settled in. I was going to be deaf for the rest of my life. So why am I sharing this story with you? You see, for me, this is the single most painful memory of my life, and in many ways I'm thankful for it. When I found out I'd be losing my hearing, it forced me to go on a journey that turned my life around and the lives of tens of thousands of men and women all over the world, and led me to uncover a 60-second water ritual used by a small Amish community from Colorado. A secret so powerful that improved my hearing in just a few weeks, without drugs, expensive surgery, or dangerous exercises, relieving me from the exhausting feelings of stress, anxiety, and depression that had taken over my life, giving me back my dignity and allowing me to live a completely normal life without being shunned away or isolated by my friends and family, and leaving my doctors speechless and every man and woman that's been suffering from hearing loss desperate to know my secret. You see, despite what you've been told, the real cause of hearing loss doesn't start in your ears. Instead, it's all due to a toxic chemical that's keeping your brain hostage right now. Scientists found this insidious toxin primarily in men and women over 40 who struggle with hearing deterioration, and according to a recent groundbreaking research by a team at UCL Ear Institute from the United Kingdom, is the real cause of hearing loss. But as bad as this may sound, there is an answer to this. Using this hidden 60-second water ritual, which you're about to discover in this presentation, known only by a small Amish community from Colorado, you can flush out this deadly toxin and stop it from damaging your ears. And once you follow this simple program, you'll be able to repair the damage this chemical has done inside your brain and quickly restore your hearing. A method so incredible it was banned by the multi-billion-dollar hearing industry, whose only purpose is to drain every last penny from your pockets. Because this program has nothing to do with overexpensive cochlear implants, hearing aids, dangerous drugs, or other painful exercises. In fact, it's 100% safe and natural formula that turned my life around and gave me back the crystal clear hearing I had when I was young. Moreover, once this toxin is flushed out of your system, a lot of good things will start to happen. You'll significantly lower your risk of brain disorders, such as memory loss. You'll become more focused, and you'll even get rid of that ringing in your ears. And if you've been having problems sleeping or feeling tired lately, or if you're trying to cope with stress and anxiety, you can say goodbye to those things as well. In fact, if you're over 40 and already started losing your hearing, and you've tried every product on the market without success, or if you don't want to waste a fortune on expensive and useless drugs and surgery, or if you're just looking for a simple method to get back your hearing and keep it like that for many years to come, then keep watching this presentation, because it will change your life. And this formula has already worked for tens of thousands of people from all over the world. You have my solemn promise that it will work for you too. So continue watching, because you'll soon discover the completely natural solution to hearing loss that has helped 79,383 people, and counting, from all over the world. People like Ron T. Washington, who say, "No wonder they're doing everything to shut down this video. I watched your presentation, followed your research, and tried the formula. A few days later, my hearing got better than it's ever been, and I'm off the hearing aid finally. Thank you for sharing this. You keep tough and keep spreading the word." Or Allison C. from Colorado, who says, "This video came exactly when I needed it the most. I got out of a very expensive and very complicated surgery thanks to your Amish method. I haven't been this happy for years. I thought I'd never hear this well ever again. Thank you deeply." Or Jonathan Dresden from Oklahoma, who sent me an email and said, "This is the most amazing video I've ever seen in my life. I was a bit skeptical about this method at first because I'd never heard of it before, but I'm so glad that I decided to give it a try. It cost me close to nothing, as you said, and in a few weeks, my right ear was better than it's been for years. It's mind-blowing how this thing works." These are a few of the messages that I receive every day in my inbox and on my voicemail. Honest men and women who stop this debilitating disease from taking over every aspect of their life. And I know exactly how they felt because not too long ago, I was in their shoes. So, before we continue, allow me to introduce myself properly. My name is John F. Miller, and I'm an industrial worker. I live in Colorado with my wife Christine and our beautiful daughter Emma. And I have an embarrassing story to share with you today. You see, not too long ago, my doctor gave me the terrible news that I was going to lose my hearing, and there wasn't much modern medicine could do about it. Watching him say these words to me, I broke into tears. The thought of not being able to hear the beautiful voice of my daughter singing her favorite lullaby, or hear that she say she loves me, was too hard for me to bear. It was at that moment I swore I'd do anything to escape this crippling nightmare life had handed me. And what followed was an incredible and dangerous journey that almost cost me everything. I became obsessed with finding a solution, something that would give me back my dignity and allow me to live like a normal human being again. Something that would help me fix my hearing loss once and for all. I tried everything there was to try. I went back to my doctor and begged him to help me find a solution. That's when I learned how much my life was worth and how little these hearing industry moguls care about your well-being. $50,000, the price of a very expensive cochlear implant. Basically, they replace the part of your ear responsible for hearing loss with a potentially functional one. But what they forget to mention are the dangerous side effects this surgery can bring with it: ear bleeding, facial nerve weakness, and even risk of life-threatening infection. As I explained to my doctor, there was no way I could afford this. He started selling me on cheaper alternatives. A $5,000 hearing aid that I would be dependent on every minute of every hour, and I just had to accept it as something normal and move on with my life. And I believed him. I wore one for a while and even thought it was the most annoying thing in the world. I realized that my hearing hadn't changed much. In fact, it was getting worse by the day. So I went on the internet and tried everything there was to try. Chinese herbs, acupuncture, expensive pills, internet books, anything I saw on the TV commercials, and even Ayurvedic medicine. Basically, everything on the list. I even paid $3,000 to one of those fake gurus on the dark web that would promise to get my hearing back in 48 hours through some ancient rituals. But all I got in return was a waste of money and time. I was so desperate to find something, anything that worked, that I started tricking myself into believing that I was making progress. In reality, my hearing was deteriorating every day, and I had no clue about it. To be honest, I almost wanted to give up. But then I asked myself, what kind of example would I set to my daughter if her own father, once her superhero, was giving up so easily on himself? I just couldn't accept this. I had to do something, anything, even if it meant risking my life. I just couldn't live this. Now, when people say something like this, they usually end up doing something very stupid and unsafe. But while I was researching on the internet, I stumbled upon an ad that would promise to get back my hearing, and all I had to do was pour a strange oil inside my ear. I'll admit, I was curious, but the thought of having to clog up my ears with an unknown substance made me scared. But I was desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. Looking back, knowing that the actual solution was in fact in my own backyard, it would have saved me from a lot of trouble in the weeks that followed. So, I decided to give it a try. I didn't feel much for the first couple of days, except the fact that my ears were clogged all the time, and my hearing was actually worse. But I thought it was just normal, and as the ad promised, I would soon get my hearing back. Now, I don't know the exact moment this happened. It was late in the evening when I started trembling and collapsed on the floor. The next thing I remember, I was in the ambulance with this lady paramedic standing over me and saying something to the doctor next to her. "I don't think he'll make it," she said, and I passed out. Apparently, as they told me later, all that strange oil that I kept pouring in my ears caused a severe infection which had spread to my brain, and just like that, it could have been over. To this day, I'm thankful that I'm still here to tell you what happened, and fortunately I was able to recover my ears, even as damaged as they were, and even though it kept me tied to a hospital bed for almost 2 weeks. It's what happened the next day that completely changed my life. When my father found out what I did, he rushed to the hospital and sat next to my bed for 2 days straight until I woke up. You see, my father and I are two very proud men, which is the reason why we haven't spoken to each other in over 10 years. And yet, hearing that his son was in grave danger, he put all his grudges aside and rushed to help me in any way he could. My father's also a doctor, just a different type of doctor than those you'd see every day. He went to medical school and, in fact, is one of the best neurologists in his city and part of an internal research team with over a dozen papers published in the past 25 years. He was born and raised in one of the few Amish communities in Colorado. As you may already know, the Amish aren't allowed to live a modern-day lifestyle as we do. They don't use the technology we depend on nowadays. They farm the land, drive horse-drawn buggies, and barter their skills to get by and make a living. But one of their most important skills is medical knowledge. My father learned this from his father and continued using it after he left the community when he was young. So when I finally had the courage to tell him about how bad my hearing loss had gotten, about how every doctor had told me I would lose my hearing in 6 months if I didn't get surgery, how I tried every alternative solution but nothing worked, he looked at me and said, "Don't worry, son, I'm here for you. I can help you with that." While I was very moved by his understanding, I knew he was just saying that to make me feel better, so I thanked him and promised to solve the problem on my own. But then he interrupted me. "No, you will do no such thing. I will help you restore your hearing. I could have helped you from the beginning if you'd only told me about it. You shouldn't have gone to those doctors. You should have come to me." Then my father said something that left me in awe. You see, there's a big reason why almost all the people who ever tried restoring their hearing failed. And that's because they're lacking a crucial piece of information, my dad said. And without this information, they're almost every time destined to fail. But before we continue, there's something very important you need to understand about the extremely big dangers lurking in your ears and brain. Every day, your body is exposed to life-threatening toxic chemicals from the food you eat, to the clothes you wear, to the gas you fill your tank with. Manganese found on soda bottles, the fluoride from toothpaste, arsenic in your very own water, even lead found in imported foods. Yes, all these, as harsh as it may sound, are highly dangerous toxins which once they enter your bloodstream will start to cause a lot of damage. And guess where they all settle? Inside every cell of your nervous system, including your ears. Then my father pulled out his phone and showed me something which left me in awe. Take a look at this graph. Today we have 50 times more hearing loss sufferers than we had 20 years ago, my dad said. Now take a look at another graph. It shows you the chemical production for the past 20 years, my father added. Seeing the blatant truth, I couldn't argue with him. It all made so much sense now. He was right. All these toxic chemicals were attacking my ears every day, like jackals ready to tear out the very last scrap of meat. So is there anything we can do about it? I asked my father. In all my long career, I've come to realize something that changed everything I thought I knew about the human brain, my dad said. There's a reason why surgical and non-surgical treatments don't work. And that's because when it comes to the main cause of hearing loss, everyone is focused on the wrong part of your body. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people maintain sharp hearing and crystal clear memory even in their late 80s, while others go deaf even before their 50s? And if you think it's just a numbers game or genetics, my son, you're far away from the truth. Of course, genes play an important role in our hearing and memory, but after treating patients throughout my long medical career, where I've seen 4,200 cases, I've discovered something truly incredible about the human brain. In fact, this was recently confirmed by researchers at the UCL Ear Institute from the United Kingdom and many other studies, including private clinical trials. You see, what gives you crystal clear hearing, no matter how old you are, is actually a small part of your brain called the central auditory system, which is directly connected to those tiny cells inside your ears through a very special nerve. Let me explain. The way your hearing works is like this. When sound waves enter your ear, the hair cells move and send a signal to the nerves that connects your ear to the brain. The brain recognizes this signal as sound. Normally, this process is repeated throughout your life without failure. Unfortunately, due to all the toxins that flood your nervous and auditory system, something happens on the nerve level, which makes your brain incapable of receiving sound signals. These chemical poisons once reached inside your brain from plaque on your nerves through a protein called amyloid beta, or ABP. It's like your auditory nerves literally start to rust. ABP is highly dangerous and doesn't just settle on your auditory nerves, but in fact takes over every nerve connected to your brain. Then it goes further and settles on those hair cells, the ones responsible for capturing the sound from outside, and literally suffocates them to death. Soon after, every cell of your auditory nervous system starts to die. So when sound tries to enter your ears, there's no one there to capture it and send it to your brain. That's why cochlear implants or hearing aids don't work, because all they do is try to amplify sounds. But when the pathway to your brain is damaged, not even the most powerful sound in the world can reach it. And up until now, it has been believed that the death of your hair cells meant the complete loss of your hearing. But as latest research shows, this toxin is not only responsible for your hearing deterioration, but is in fact what's keeping your hair cells from regenerating. Unfortunately, it gets even worse. This neurotoxin not only is one of the main causes of deadly brain disorders like memory loss, because it doesn't just settle in your auditory system. It's so powerful that it's able to pass through the extremely thick blood vessel barrier and reach your brain's gray matter. And when this happens, all your precious memories go away one by one, together with the sweet sounds you love hearing so much in a conversation. You're literally forced to live with this toxic parasite inside your brain while it debilitates every single aspect of your normal life. Hearing my father's words sent shivers down my spine. Now there is a way to fix this, and scientists have just caught up to what the Amish community have known for centuries, my dad said. There are certain chemical elements that once introduced into your bloodstream, flush out this toxin and allow your hair cells to repair and regenerate. It's like removing all the rust from your brain nerves and allowing this wonderful organic supercomputer to regenerate every cell inside it. What's amazing about this is that it's completely natural. Once your brain gets all the ingredients it needs, your hearing restoration begins in a 100% organic way, just like the way it was always meant to be. And what's even more incredible is that all these ingredients are already found in the foods, oils, and vegetables you already buy dirt cheap at your local grocery store. Listening to my father, I was very intrigued. After all, he was born and raised in the Amish community, following in a long line of respected doctors who've passed their secrets on from generation to generation. I remember him performing many wonders for his patients as I was a child. And what's truly amazing is their remedies are still used today with the same extraordinary effects. He showed me a compendium that his father gave him when he left the community. This old dusty journal contained a long list of foods and ingredients used by the Amish community for centuries to treat all sorts of diseases. They called them superfoods, and this secret was carefully guarded by their doctors. The problem, according to my father, is that no one has tried to combine these ingredients into a powerful and effective hearing restoration solution. So over the next few weeks, my father had me eat all sorts of weird foods and ingredients. We were trying to figure out which ones worked best and what are the exact quantities that could help me with my hearing problem. For the first week, I didn't see any major improvements. Maybe just the fact that I was more focused and didn't get tired all the time. Sure, that was a good thing, but it wasn't what I was looking for. Then soon after, I started noticing a slight increase in my hearing. I was pretty sure I could hear better than I had before, but it wasn't a major change yet. Then it all went back to my old normal hearing loss. Some days my hearing would get better, other days it would go back to like it was before. It felt like we weren't making any progress. So I told my father that we should just stop, and thanked him for all his help. Now is no time to stop. Now it's time to continue. The first results will come later, my father said confidently. Then one morning after following this program, I woke up and I could hear the TV from the kitchen, something I hadn't been able to do for so long. It felt strange at first. A few days later, I left for work without taking my hearing aid. I thought I'd have to avoid my colleagues all day long so I wouldn't have to tell them, sorry, what? Over and over again. But to my surprise, I realized I could understand what they were saying and even eavesdropped on a conversation just to see if I could hear everything. That was the moment I knew when I was on the right track with my dad's formula. A few days later, not only was I able to even hear people whispering, but also some of that ringing in my ears had gone. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. I woke up every morning trying to test myself to see if it was real. But it was real. It was real as daylight. My father's formula had just improved my hearing. My own hearing. I couldn't believe it. My colleagues kept asking me when I got my surgery done or what type of hearing aid I was using now. And whenever I told them I had used an Amish formula to get my hearing back, they'd laugh or walk away like I was insane. But the tests showed it was as real as daylight. My hearing had improved in just a few weeks, and there was no trace I had ever had a problem with it. They ran those tests over and over again as my doctor stared at them in awe and just ordered a new set to verify the results. He couldn't understand how this could possibly be happening. But I was prepared for his reaction. With my father's approval, I showed his formula to Dr. Connor. My dad and I both agreed that making it public could change thousands of lives, or even more. So we decided to break the vow and reveal his secret in order to help others. I thought my doctor would be thrilled to see what this formula could do. But just as I began to tell him how I got it, he took the piece of paper I wrote the instructions on and shredded it to bits right before my eyes. I didn't even have time to react as he started questioning me like I was a murderer. "Did you show this to anyone else?" he asked. "I suggest you don't show this to anyone or you'll be dragged to court for years. You hear me? We already have our own ways of dealing with hearing loss. You should thank me for letting you get away with this. You keep this to yourself, got it?" And then he threw me out. Just like that. I sat there on the stairway thinking, how on earth can I spread the word about this if doctors, the ones who are supposed to care about our health, don't actually care about it? They care more about their business than your life. So after thinking it through, I decided to go against the system and share this formula in my own way, without their help. And by the time I got home, to my surprise, somehow the word had already gotten out, and there were already a couple of neighbors talking to my father about how they could try his program. So we decided to give them the instructions, and soon after, the entire neighborhood was crowding at our house to get their hands on the ingredients. People were amazed by the results. Like me, they've been trying to find an answer to this problem for years, and now it's finally happened. They were happier than ever. People who reunited with their families, who got their jobs back and are not publicly shamed anymore because of something that was none of their fault to begin with. I was deeply grateful for being able to do that for them, and I realized we could do so much more. I told my father that we needed to make this formula available for the entire world, and he was extremely happy to do so, with one condition. He said that in order for this to work, the ingredients had to come from specific places, and the recipe needed to be 100% pure. So after weeks of researching, we found the right companies to help us with this. We had the formula and we knew it worked, so we needed to make sure the ingredients are sourced while keeping the same high quality. That was the most difficult part, to be honest. Because the problem with this industry is there are a lot of folks out there just trying to profit off your goodwill. People trying to make a quick buck who don't care about quality ingredients. My father and I searched in every corner of the world until we found the right ingredients. We only wanted to work with certified manufacturers to make sure that we got top quality ingredients. It was an excruciating job. It took us several weeks, but we finally did it. It felt like I'd just fallen in love for the second time in my life. The first time I was holding this formula in my hands. We called it Volumil, the ultimate Amish formula for improving your hearing starting today, without any dangerous surgery, expensive hearing aids, and no dietary restrictions. In fact, this formula will not interfere with your diet in any way. You can keep eating whatever you like, as much as you like, and you won't need any other alternative therapies. Remember, this is an Amish remedy, which means everything is 100% natural. The Amish only live off what they can produce themselves, so they were forced to find powerful natural medicines that cost close to nothing. And that's why it was so hard to find these ingredients outside the community, while keeping the high standards. Most people have long forgotten how amazing these remedies can be, but the Amish still guard the secrets of nature and use them to stay healthy and strong all throughout their lives. And the most amazing part is how this formula actually works. You see, in order to make sure we only achieve the best results, we had to use a specific combination of ingredients, which, during lab and later clinical testing, it's been proved to work only in these exact quantities and this exact formula. Over a dozen laboratories from the United States, Europe, and Asia have independently tested all these ingredients on our first 1,228 amazed volunteers. So here's an explanation of how the entire process looks and how each one of these miracle ingredients works. Step 1. Nutrients enter your bloodstream and nourish your brain. We wanted to make sure we gave your brain the full power to regenerate and get revitalized. That's why we combined 29 incredible ingredients, all independently tested for safety and purity. Because your body's been deprived for all these years of all these amazing nutrients. Once they reach your bloodstream, they'll be immediately absorbed by your brain, and that's when the hearing restoration process starts. Step 2, your brain gets revitalized, allowing your hearing to start repairing itself. This is the most important step of the entire process. It's when all these amazing ingredients start to work on growing your hair cells. To help achieve this, we used a specific combination of vitamin B1, B2, B6, calcium, and zinc, which have just one important role: to speed up the restoration process. Then, we added the star ingredients, including rhodiola rosea, which acts like an army of firefighters against the ABP neurotoxin, while increasing your focus and keeping your memory sharp. L-theanine, which has also been proven highly effective in reducing the plaque levels of this dangerous neurotoxin, also increase cognitive performance and improve your immune system. Then we added Griffonia simplicifoli, skullcap, hawthorn, and mucunia pruriens with just one purpose in mind: to help restore the hair cells in your ears and help you regain your hearing. But there's more. All these ingredients combined in these specific quantities also have a role in forming a natural barrier protecting you against long-term memory loss and making sure you don't suffer from the dramatic consequences of hearing loss. In fact, once you get back your hearing, you'll significantly lower your risk for brain disorders like memory loss, amnesia, and other related debilitating diseases. Step 3. You get back your hearing and live a life full of joy, without the fear of being shunned away by your family and friends. The final step is the moment you've been waiting for. And the most wonderful thing is, once you get your hearing back, it will stay like that for decades. Every day you wake up, you'll hear every single word anyone is saying in a conversation. You'll be able to listen to your favorite songs or TV news without turning up the volume. You'll get back the life you've always deserved, since the moment you were born. Now, before we move on, it's important to listen to what I'm about to say. To make this formula work for you, it needs to be taken in the right quantities. This depends on what your goal is and a few other factors, such as what's the severity of your hearing loss and the amount of this dangerous neurotoxin plaque in your brain. Based on a test we made with our partnering labs using a base of 3,452 men and women, while measuring the amounts of neurotoxin plaques and the severity of hearing loss, the results were shockingly bad. So our safe response to this is don't risk it, and make sure you flush this toxic plaque out of your brain so you can finally get back your hearing. After seeing the results of the 79,383 people from all over the world, for everyone that suffers from severe hearing loss based on their neurotoxin levels, we recommend taking at least 3 bottles of Volumil for a period of 90 days. And if you want to be completely safe and don't take any chances, then we recommend at least 6 bottles or more. This way, you'll be absolutely sure you can get your hearing back. People send us messages every day from all over the world, amazed by what this formula does for them. People like Elaine from Oklahoma, who say, "John, your father's formula is extraordinary. I stopped wearing my hearing aid 2 weeks ago, and it keeps getting better and better. My husband was starting to have problems with his hearing too, and now it's like he's 20 years younger. Thank you so much. Many blessings." Or Robert from Missouri, who wrote me this morning and said, 3 months ago I had a car accident because of my hearing problem. The irony is that made my hearing even worse, if that was even possible. I was so scared I didn't leave the house for a week. After trying your formula, I became like a new man. I can't thank you enough. Or Peter, a 72-year-old from Austin, Texas, who says, "John, I'm a proud man like you. When I started to go deaf, I was so depressed I wouldn't even talk to my own family. They were all telling me it's normal to lose your hearing when you're 70, but it's so hard to accept it when it's happening to you. I didn't think there was any way to find a solution to this, but when I saw your presentation and decided to try this formula, my entire life changed. I just wanted to thank you for making me feel like myself again." All these people tried Volumil and it completely changed their lives, ever since I made public this Amish formula. And they're not alone. I receive hundreds of emails and text messages from people like them every day. People who've experienced results so amazing, they want to thank us for making it available to the public, even if it's for a short period of time. So let me ask you this. How much is it worth to you to never have to second guess a conversation again? How much is it worth to you to not have to see that demeaning look people give you when you ask them to repeat themselves because you weren't able to hear half of what they were saying? How much is it worth to you to be able to hear everything, even when people are whispering, or not to feel lonely and isolated all the time? Let yourself imagine that for a second. See how it would be like. And now tell me, how much would all this be worth to you? Cochlear implant costs roughly $100,000, and the risks are terribly high. Bleeding, facial nerve weakness, infections, ringing in the ears, and even poor hearing loss. Hearing aids can damage your ear in the long run and are inefficient because they don't separate the background noise from what people say. Not to mention they cost a small fortune every time they break. Over time, your hearing loss will only get worse, and all those people you thought were your friends will avoid you or publicly shame you for your condition if you leave this in Big Pharma's hands. So let me ask you again, how much is it worth to have a solution to your hearing loss? $5,000? $10,000? In all the years of my life, I've seen that people who are always caring for others find it almost impossible to give themselves the one thing that you know they truly deserve. That's why I'm going to change this entire deal around. Although my father suggested I should price this formula at $997, My wife said I should sell it for $497. And even though this protocol has already helped 79,383 men and women from all over the world who would happily pay double that amount, for me, it's about spreading the word more than it is about the money. I know how it feels to be paralyzed with fear, knowing you'll never be like the other men and women, that you'll not be able to do the simplest thing in the world, hear what people say in a conversation. I don't want this to happen to you. Ever since I discovered this incredible Amish formula, my life has never been the same, and I want you to have this in your life as well. That's why I'm not going to place this program at $497, or even half that, or a quarter for that matter, because the most important thing for me is to be able to keep this website running for as long as I can, so that thousands more can benefit from this solution. And I want to make sure the price is the last thing you have on your mind before you make a decision. So today you can finally get your hearing back and get access to this incredible formula for the small amount of $69. Now I'm going to do something even better. Our manufacturing partner gave us permission to offer a discount on the 6-bottle package of Volumil. You can get them for only $49 a bottle. And you also get free shipping for as long as the supply lasts. Once we run out of stock, which will probably happen very soon, we won't be able to offer any more discounts. So make the right decision for you and your family and click on the 6-bottle package or any other package you want and secure your Volumil order now. Once you fill the form and complete your order, we'll immediately start preparing your package and rush it to your door. But you need to act fast because as much as I hate to say it, time is running out. If you wait, things will only get worse. I got lucky discovering this program. So today, for a very short period of time, I'm sharing it with you. All you need to do is click one button right now. And the truth is, the price doesn't even matter because I'm going to do something even better for you. Something that the multi-billion-dollar hearing aid industry will never even dare to consider because they know what they sell you is snake oil. So here's what's going to happen. Once you've selected your package below, hit the order button and secure your order. You're going to get a 60-day money-back guarantee on Volumil. No questions asked, no hassle, no red tape. If you don't experience great results with this formula, if you're not excited and happy that you can finally hear what other people are saying in a conversation and just feel the joy that a normal person does, then just send me an email and I'll refund your entire investment without asking any questions and with no hard feelings whatsoever. Plus, if you think this is not for you, I'll let you keep the program, just as a big thank you for giving it a try. Press the order button below, and in less than a minute from now, you can get back what you're looking for the most. Volumil is going to change your life. No more hearing aids, no more saving money for surgery, no more trying painful and expensive therapies, hoping you'll see results someday. You can finally wake up in the morning and hear the TV in the kitchen and your spouse making breakfast. You can finally enjoy dinners together with your family, talking and having a great time, hearing every word of the conversation. This is your chance to get your life back. But you need to act now because we're coming to the end of this presentation. The decision is ultimately yours. You can ignore this life-changing presentation and move on with your life. You can choose the old-fashioned ways that Big Pharma has prepared for you sitting on a shelf or in a doctor's office. And tomorrow, or maybe next week, when you struggle to hear even the simplest words in a conversation, ask yourself, what's different than it was last week? But then when you try to come back to this presentation, we might be out of stock, or worse, it might not even be online anymore. And right now, you're one click away from this extraordinary Amish formula. So go ahead, click on one of the buttons below and see how satisfying it feels to hear like a normal person again. You have the simplest thing to do, and it's risk-free, because when you select the 6-bottle package or any other package below, you also get my 60-day money-back guarantee. So make the right decision and secure your order today. And I'll see you in the members area with a very special announcement. Still here? Sometimes the only reason why someone hasn't made a decision yet is because they still have a few questions that need to be answered. So let me do that right now. Question 1. How does Volumil actually work? To quickly explain, this formula contains a natural compound of 29 nutrients and vitamins, which have been shown to repair your middle ear hair cells and improve your hearing. This formula is inspired by a little-known Amish recipe that's been used inside their community for centuries and has helped them achieve crystal clear hearing. My father was raised in a family of Amish doctors and has decided to break the vow of secrecy to help others and share with me this unique recipe. Based on this recipe and in collaboration with an independent research lab, my father and I managed to develop a formula that's 4.7 times stronger than the original Amish recipe. So if you're looking for a way to restore your hearing, this formula is all you'll ever need. Unfortunately, you won't see this formula published in mainstream media journals or promoted by the big hearing industry companies, because they're only interested in using you as their personal cash cow. If people knew how to restore their hearing using natural remedies, there wouldn't be anything for them to sell you that would make them billions of dollars every year. Question 2. Why haven't I heard of this product before? This is the third time I'm posting this video online. There are some very powerful people working for the multi-billion-dollar hearing aids industry, which are trying to prevent hearing loss sufferers from seeing this video. They've been threatening me with expensive lawsuits ever since I released this information to the public. They know that for each person that gets this information, they'll lose a money-making customer, and for every client lost, their profits go down, and their board of directors makes less of a bonus at the end of the year. That's why you need to act fast and get your hands on this formula while this website is still up and running. Tomorrow when you come back, it might be gone. Question 3. Who is this program for? This incredible formula works for everyone, no matter if you're 20 or 70 years old, and even if you've been suffering from hearing loss for years. It doesn't matter what your current condition is or if you have hearing loss because of an accident or simply because of aging. It has no side effects, no implications, and zero dietary restrictions. All you need is a glass of water and less than a minute of your time every morning. It just works, and you'll soon be able to enjoy its incredible benefits once you hit the order button below. Question 4. How long will Volumil be available? To be fair, this isn't something I have an answer for. Today might be your last chance to get your hands on Volumil. I've been constantly harassed by lawyers threatening me with lawsuits if I don't take this video down. The multi-billion-dollar hearing aid industry has already lost tens of thousands of customers because of this formula, and every day that goes by, it gets worse for them. So next time you come back and visit this website, it may not be up anymore. This may be your only opportunity to get this incredible Amish formula and enjoy the amazing benefits it brings, just like 79,383 people have done before you. Question 5. Will this formula work for me? So far, 79,383 men and women have successfully used Volumil to improve their hearing in just a few weeks. Here are just some of the messages that flood my inbox every day. John, your father's formula is extraordinary. I stopped wearing my hearing aid 2 weeks ago, and it keeps getting better and better. My husband started to have problems with his hearing too, and now he's hearing like he's 20 years younger. Elaine B., Oklahoma. 3 years ago, I had a car accident because of my hearing problem. The irony is, it made my hearing even worse, if possible. I was so scared I didn't leave the house until last week, a few days after I tried this formula. It's like I'm a new man. I can't thank you enough for it. God bless you. Robert C., California. When I started to go deaf, I was so depressed I wouldn't even talk to my own family. They were all telling me it's normal to lose your hearing when you're 70. But it's so hard to accept it when it's happening to you. I didn't think there was any chance to get my hearing back, but then I saw your video and I decided to give it a try. It was even better than what you said. I just wanted to thank you for making me feel like myself again. Peter G., Texas. Now think of all the tens of thousands of people that have used this Amish formula ever since it was discovered centuries ago. If the formula didn't work, it wouldn't still be used today. So try Volumil for yourself and discover how good it feels to be able to hear even the slightest noise around you. Question 6. Great. What's next? All you have to do is click on the order button below, and once you fill the shipping information on the next page, we'll rush Volumil to your door. And once you've felt the amazing effects this formula has, feel free to send me an email and let me know about your results. Thank you for watching this presentation. Stay safe and God bless. John Miller.